Hey everyone, this is Matt Hendricks with the Sharpening Guy, and I'm going to show you what a burr is and how to get one and explain why you need it. A burr is really important in sharpening, and it can also be called a wire edge, or some people even call it a foil. But essentially, if you don't get a burr, then you're not getting all the way to your edge when you're sharpening your knife, and you're not going to get very good results. So anyway, essentially, the concept is this. When you start sharpening your knife, it's dull. Your edge is round like this, okay? It's rounded over. There's no point on it, right? Because for your knife to be sharp, you essentially need your edge to come to a sharp point, okay? And so if you start, your edge is rounded over. Now, when you grind steel, right? And so when you grind on one side of your knife, the way steel works is when you get to the apex, okay? Or when you actually get, so you've ground all the way down to the edge of your knife, okay? So it's rounded over, you ground on one side, you got all the way to the middle here. What's called the burr is what's going to form on the other side of the blade, okay? And it's basically going to be like a little piece of metal sticking off. So if I was grinding on this side of the blade like I just was, the burr is going to be on this side of the blade, this top side, because I was grinding on this side, so I won't be able to feel the burr over here. But on this top side of the blade, if I run my fingers off like this, I can feel the burr sticking up. And just to give you a more visible example here, I've just taken this piece of sheet steel here and bent it a little bit. And so if I hold it against the knife blade like this, right, I was grinding on this side, and so the burr is going to be folded over like this. And so this is why, if I run my fingers off this side of the blade, right, I can feel my fingers catch on that burr on this side of the blade. But if I feel on the side I was sharpening, I'm not going to feel it at all because it's bent the other way, okay? So, and of course, if I were to sharpen the other side of the knife then, right, like this, and grind away at it, and you would be doing this on either a medium grit stone or a coarse grit stone. Now, because I was grinding on this side, the burr will have moved over to this side, right? And so it's going to be up here. So if I run my fingers off the blade, I can feel it up here, but I can't feel it on this side anymore, right? Because it's over here. And so again, right, if I were to go back and grind on this side of the blade, then the burr is back on this side, right? Because I ground over here, and so the burr's sticking up over here. So like I said, this little piece of bent steel is just to give you a visual picture that you can actually see of what your burr's doing. Because your burr might be so small that you can't really see it, but you should be able to feel it. But this gives you a visual example, essentially, of what you're feeling for when you feel off the edge of your knife like this. And also, it shows you why, the burr shows up on whichever side that you were not grinding on, right? Because if you grind on this side, the burr will show up over here. If you then go grind on this side, the burr is now over here. And so anyway, the burr signifies that you have actually reached the edge or created a point on the edge of your knife instead of it being rounded over like that anymore. So that's why when you're sharpening, whichever stone you start with, whether it's a rough stone or a medium stone, it's important that you get a burr along the full length of the blade. So for instance, if I was sharpening this knife, right, now I can feel a burr along the entire length of the blade. Now, if, say, for sake of argument, let's say I didn't have a burr right here, then I'd say, well, I don't have a sharp edge right here yet. It's still rounded over. So I better go and do more work on that section until I have a burr. So you need to make sure that you get a full length burr that runs along the full length of the blade on each side of the knife. And so you'll go back and forth like this until you have a burr along the whole edge, and you've done that on both sides. Then once you've done that, then you can move on and start your deburring process, or go up to the medium grit stone from the rough stone or whatever. But anyway, once you have the burr, then it's just a matter of polishing the cutting edge and removing the burr so that your knife will cut through things effectively. So anyway, I have a separate video discussing how to deburr a knife, but this video is just to explain what a burr is and why you need to get one and why it's important. So anyway, hope this helps. Thanks for watching.